People stop and if I'm out here will ask me about it, or they like slow down and I see people pointing all the time and like all the kids on the bus are like waving. And I'm Lizzie Darling, and this is my nursery here in Louisville, Kentucky that I started 3 years ago because when we bought this property, it was full of invasive, non-native plants. And when I went to go purchase plants, the only place I could find was Drop Seed up in Goshen, which was really far away to go to get native plants on a whim. So I decided to start a nursery. You know, there used to be a tree here, you know, with some stones around it, and then it was all grass with 2 giant burning bushes and a huge crepe myrtle back there. You know, I planted my first little native garden with, I think I had New England aster, purple coneflower, some wild bergamot. You know, it was very, very small. I actually didn't have much of a horticultural background. I worked professionally as a chef for the majority of my life, living in Colorado and New Mexico. And when I moved to Louisville, the pandemic started. So I was kind of stuck at home and needed stuff to do, and started learning about native plants, winter sowing. This is actually like kind of looking a little empty right now. I just wanted to learn and see, and so I've done a lot of experimenting, you know, trying different soil mixes and sunshine and water amounts. You know, I've planted most of the same plants in all the exact same, you know, same plants all over the property just to see how like the time of day affects them, you know, when they're getting sun, if that matters, you know, and you need to have plants to sell and to also plant everywhere. So, cleared it all out. I talked to the neighbor and cleared back part of her area to get in there. Cut some of those trees down, but we planted a swamp white oak. We let this cherry stay, and that cherry, which came from this one here. We have a calycanthus, a sassafras, spice bush, another spice bush, hop tree, a button bush over there, a witch hazel. I think people are becoming educated and aware of the crisis that's happening, you know, with the pollinator decline, and realizing that native plants are the answer, and if everybody does their part, we can be a solution to it. This has been an interesting project, learning about greenhouses. For all my volunteer squash and beans and stuff. Yeah, so we essentially created a little oven. And we had, you know, added the shade cloth, which helped, but we cut the plastic off because it was just so hot. But with all the rain we've had, it's been nice. The way, you know, I have it set up so everything can drain through, so it's watering. I've done so much less watering this year. It's like the only reason I'm not crazy. I really love my coral honeysuckle. It's really nice just sitting on the front porch and watching the hummingbirds. They love it. This is like hummingbird watching station, and my stance on non-native plants is as long as they're not invasive or disruptive to the ecosystem in any way, then and you like them. A lot of what I do is walking around and seeing, you know, because everything else is like thriving, you know, going crazy, and you can see what's doing well and what's not. And so I go and I take it to my little workshop and empty it out and see, like, is this too wet? Is it holding too much moisture? You know, but specifically for the plant, I would probably say pale purple coneflower and Tennessee coneflower I haven't found what they like yet. butterfly milkweed is hard for me to get started inside, but it's doing well now. It's just kind of like, you know, from inside to the summertime, it's like not 100%. This was another one of my first plantings, and the way that the flower of this plant smells is like so intoxicatingly delicious. It's like better than a lilac, better than a Hoya. It's like sweet and floral, and I love it, but it is moved over that way, and I find it randomly, you know, luckily it's planted so densely in here that there's not really much room for it to come up. This year we had so much rain, it made this so much more manageable. Where last year at this time, you know, we were running our sprinklers because we just didn't have time to water all of it, you know. But like I said, I've been working on the soil mixture and stuff, and I added a little vermiculite to it to help it retain a little bit of that moisture, you know, healing things in, kind of protecting it so nothing is like fully being blasted by the sun. Just little things to do. Things that I would have done better starting over. I would have been more diligent about my record keeping from the get-go, because I'm always like, oh yeah, I'll remember that, and 2 seconds later, it's gone. But you know, after the first season of having to be like, I don't know what this is, you know, and still not knowing the plants well enough to be able to tell what it is by looking at it, and it's like, is this a wheat, you know? So I caused myself a lot of headache by not labeling things better. But even when you label things the best you can, you know, the Sharpie wears off. The tags, you know, the squirrels take the tags. So I've definitely, you know, even with like my winter sowing, I write it on the top of the jug, the bottom of the jug. I put a tag on the inside of the jug. And just being more diligent that way, it just really helps, especially like trying to keep track, because now I'm producing and distributing so much and having orders and stuff, just being able to have something concrete to look at instead of being like, dig through my rusty file cabinet. Oh, this is something fun. So down here, you'll see water coming out of this tube.
Yeah.
And this is the tube that comes from like the condensation from our air conditioner that I discovered was just shooting water out of the side of our house. So I rerouted it from over there to feed this swamp milkweed and Joe Pye weed and cardinal flowers, this sort of little wetter area. Plus we have the overflow from this water tank that we repurposed this beautiful crepe myrtle wood when we dug it out to make a nice little trellis for some more coral honeysuckle. Coming this next spring, we are going to have a retail location, which I'm very excited about and super nervous, and I think it's going to be great, but there's a lot of moving parts that I'm trying to make happen while I'm also working another full-time job. So I really just want to like reclaim this, to be able to like enjoy it out here instead of just being out here and being like overwhelmed and like, oh, I got to do this. Oh wait, I got to do this. Oh wait, I got to do this, you know? That'll help me stay organized, not to like pull inventory from like my orders and stuff like that, but I don't know. I haven't quite figured that all out. You can follow us on Facebook at Verdant Gardens, and you can send me an email at grow.verdant.gardens@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Typically, I make videos about the things that I'm doing here on my property, but I love the opportunity to highlight the work of others. Lizzie is doing some awesome work here in Louisville, Kentucky, growing native plants, so if you're in the market, definitely check her out. And if you want to check out some of my other videos, they've probably popped up on the screen, but if not, you can find them in the normal places. My name is Tyler Lloyd, and I wish you the very best.